Namaste, dear students. First of all, I want to welcome you to our English class of grade 10. And today we are going to begin our new unit. So can you guess which one is the unit for today? Yes, you are right. We are going to begin unit 13. So again I have a question for you. So what is there in unit 13? Can you tell me? Okay, don't worry. We are going to learn. We are going to read new text, okay, on the reading 1. So for it, you have to be very active. So are you ready with your necessary materials like your textbook, notebook, and pen or pencil? Good. If so, we are going to start our today's class. All of you, be active, okay? Now, first of all, look at getting started. So, what do you see there? All right, now you can see the pictures. So, you have to look at the pictures and discuss what they represent, okay? Now, the pictures are, see, what do you see in the first picture here? You can see, it looks like a city and many people are there, they are crossing the road on zebra crossing. Similarly, what do you see in the second picture? This picture one. Okay, you can see there wild animals. All right, you are good. Then again, the third picture. What do you see here? See, people have a kind of load, on their back. So it looks like that. Yes, you are right. They are going from one place to another place. And that is, yes, migration. And the fourth picture one, the last one, what do you see here? Yes, the birds again. And do you think the birds or the wild animals also migrate, go from one place to another place? Yes, definitely. You are right. It means in Unit 13, we are reading a text related to population because our theme in this unit is migration and population. Okay, so for it, we are going to read. Dear students, before starting the reading text, I want to ask you a few questions given on the reading one. So be ready to answer me. And the first question for you is, so what is it? All of you read now? Yes. What is the population of Nepal as per the population census 2078 BS? Now you should be able to tell me the number of population in Nepal according to the data of census 2078. Do you know it? If you know, very good. If you don't know, then you have to search, okay? You have to update yourself. Is that clear? Good. Now, second question again for you is, what are the factors that influence the population change in a country? So what are the components? What are the factors, that bring changes in population in a country? Oh yes, you are right, okay? So these questions are for you just to guess about the text given on the reading 1. Even if you make wrong guess, even if you give wrong answer, it doesn't matter, okay? But for the first question, you should give right answer, correct answer, okay? Dear students, now after a short discussion about these questions answers, we are going to begin our reading text. Now all of you, be ready. So what do you see there? Yes, what's the title here? Good. The title is A Century of World Population Trends 1950 to 2050. Now from the title, what do you understand? Oh yes, you are very right. It's a comparative study of the population, okay? And you have to understand a century. A century means what is the period of time? Wow, you are right again. The 100 years time is called a century, okay? And in this text, what do you find? Population, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes increasing, sometimes decreasing, so you can find. And the time is from 1950 to 2050, okay? So you can see the graph here, all right? Growth rate, number of persons you can find from this graph also. Now the main concern here for us is we should be able to understand the text. We should be able to find out the necessary information. So for this, you have to read yourself. And here, I am also here to help you. So I want to read this paragraph. You also read with me together. And sometimes I ask you the questions. Sometimes we'll discuss. Okay? So are you ready for it? Good. Let's begin then. Okay, all of you start reading. Today, the world's population is more than 3 times larger than it was in the mid-20th century. It took around 37 years since 1950 for human numbers to double, surpassing 5 billion inhabitants in 1987. Furthermore, the global population is estimated to double again in about 70 years, rising to over 10 billion by 2059. So what information do you find here? Yes, you are right again. See, the world's population is more than 3 times larger than it was in the mid-20th century. So you have to understand that in the mid-20th century, the number of population was bigger or smaller. What do you think? See, in comparison today, okay? So yes, the size of the population was smaller. How many times? Wow, you are right again. 3 times. See, more than 3 times. Okay, larger. Now it 3 times larger. Now it means that in the mid-20th century, 3 times smaller. Is the idea clear? Good. Then how long does it take? See, so can you tell me? Yes, again you are right. It took around 37 years since 1950. See, we are comparing from 1950 to 2050, all right? It means some past, some present, and some future, okay? Now, see, human numbers to double, okay? Double 2 times, surpassing 5 billion inhabitants in 1987. It's a kind of line of increasing, you know, and you can find how many. What is the number of population? 5 billion. You are right, okay? And in 1987. Furthermore, the global population is estimated to double again. Now, in about how many years? In 70 years, it would double again, you know, it is estimated double time. So, population is going on here, rising to about 10 billion by 2059. Now, here you can find 5 billion in 1987. Now, it is a kind of estimation by 2059. So, it would be double within 70 years. And what would be the number of population in the world? Yes, again you are right. That is 10 billion. All right, have you got this information? Good job. This is how you have to improve your comprehension, okay? So, reading means read. You can read 2 times, 3 times, many times and try to find out the information. Now, after being clear of this paragraph, we are going to the next one. So, all of you be ready. And before that one, we have a highlighted word here, surpassing. So, have you guessed the meaning before I show you here? Surpassing. What did you think the meaning of surpassing? Now, the meaning of surpassing is incomparable or outstanding, you know. So, this is what 5 billion and within 70 years again 10 billion, see, double, okay? So, this is what you have to understand. And I hope you might have written down the words and meanings in your notebook, okay? So that in your free time, you can recall them and you can bring them into practice in your daily communication. Dear all, now we are going to start the second paragraph again. Okay, let's read with me together. Over the 100 years, the world population was growing the fastest. You can understand when? Over the 100 years. See, what was the condition of population? Growing up or growing down? Increasing or decreasing? Yes, increasing. See, very fastest. The fastest one, okay? This is the time. Particularly between 1962 to 1965. This is the time when the population was growing the fastest one. So, don't forget this date, 1962 to 1965. When it was increasing on average by, what is the increasing rate, you know? average rate. Oh yes, you are right again, 2.1% per year. Since then, the pace of population growth has slowed by more than half owing to reduced levels of fertility. So from here, what do you understand? Then population started going down. Okay, so slowed down, and you can find what is the reason of slowing down the population here. What's the reason? You have to find out this information. Yes, you are right again. See, reduced levels of fertility. Okay, do you know the meaning of fertility? The ability of delivering the child also, this is what. Now, in 2020 and for the first time since 1950, the rate of population growth fell below 1% per year. See the data. Then the population was not growing. The population was going down, and that was below. What is the percentage here? Oh yes, you are right again. That is below 1% per year. All right. Then it is projected to continue to slow in the next few decades, and again it was estimated, okay, it was projected to go down the population for next few decades. And do you know what decade means? Good. One decade equals to 10 years, and here in the next few decades, okay. And through the end of this century, the global population could grow to around 8.5 billion in 2030. So what would be the number of population in 2030? Now we are in 2024. Okay, so how many years to 2030? Yes, 6 years. Now in 2030, what is the number of population? What will be? So yes, you are right again, 8.5 billion. Okay, and add 1.18 billion in the following 2 decades. Now it means 2030, 8.5, and again you can add 2 more decades, means 20 years. So it would be 2050. And what would be the total number of population in 2050? If you add there 1.18 billion in 8.5. So it is estimated that 9.7 billion people would be there in the world. So is it interesting? So have you got the main ideas of this paragraph? Okay, yes, population let's say grew down, then again population slowly by 2050. So this is what it is shown, this information given in this paragraph. Have you got me? Okay, if so, again now we have another paragraph, and this is what you have to do again. Read with me together. Given its reliance on assumptions at the country level about the 2 components factors, okay, of global population growth, fertility and mortality, the projection of the global population is inherently uncertain. It typically becomes more uncertain over time. However, the size of the world population in the near future is relatively certain. This is because the size and the age structure of the population over the next few decades are largely the result of demographic processes that have already taken place in the recent past. So you can find here, so what are the components, what are the factors of growing population and let's say growing down population, increasing and decreasing. So can you tell me the components, factors? Oh, you are so smart. See, yes, you are right again. Growth, fertility and mortality. Okay, these are the reason. Growth, fertility, delivery of the children, baby birth, and then mortality. Can you guess the meaning of this word mortality? Oh yes, you are right again. Death rate, and because of death, the number of population goes down, and then because of growth, fertility, the number of population goes up. Okay, so you can find because of this reason, then the number of population will be uncertain, and then again it can be more certain over time. Okay, if there is control of fertility or mortality, this is what you can find. So this is what the demographic process. Now these are the main information ideas of this paragraph. So after this, again there are some highlighted words, and you have to know the meanings in context. All right, so can you tell me the meaning of this word assumptions in this context? Given its reliance on assumptions at the country level about the 2 components of global population, growth, fertility, and mortality. So what's the meaning of this word? Okay, you can check your meaning whether you are right or wrong in your guess or in your understanding. Okay, see, assumptions means things that are accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. See, it would be certain, so for this we don't need any proof. Okay, so have you written it in your notebook? Good. Now again we have another word, that is mortality. So what does it mean? Yes, you might have already got the meaning of this word if you look at this word together with its growth, fertility. So what is it? You are right. See, death. Good. Now another one is projection. 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 So what does it mean? Okay, all of you tell me now. Tell me a bit louder, please. All right, now you can check again. Projection means an estimate or forecast of a future situation based on a study of present trends, So this is also a kind of estimation to know about future being best, okay, based on the present situation. All right, based on the present situation, people can predict, people can tell about the future. This is what projection. Similarly, again, we have another word here is relatively. What does it mean? So you can read this sentence once again. However, the size of the world population in the near future is relatively certain. If you go here, here is uncertain. Now here, relatively certain. In comparison to this one, then the population in the future will be certain. So what do you understand? The meaning of this word relatively. What is it? Okay, let me check whether you are right or wrong in your understanding. Yes, comparatively. Good job. Okay, and do not forget to write in your notebook. Next one, the last highlighted word in this paragraph we have is demographic. So what does it mean? Can you tell me? Okay, let's read this sentence once again. This is because the size and age structure of the population over the next few decades are largely the result of demographic processes that have already taken place in the recent past. Okay, so what does it mean? Got it? Okay, let me show you. Relating to the structure of population. See, demographic means related to populations. All right. So I hope you got the main information of this paragraph. Now, again, I want to take you to another paragraph. Okay, read with me together again. Now, in particular, most of the women whose offspring will contribute to the population growth through 2050 are already alive. The global population is still growing, though at a reduced rate. Some countries and regions continue to experience further population growth, while others have witnessed stabilization or begun to decrease in population size. So what do you find here? See, most women whose offspring will contribute to the population growth. You can understand women children will also contribute. It means that if there are baby now, they will be mother and father in the future, and even at that time they will contribute for baby birth. Okay, they will deliver the children again, and that will also help to increase population through 2050, because in this text we are learning the estimation of population up to 2050. Okay, and they will be already alive. And then what will happen? The global population is still growing, so the train of population will be growing. All right, and previously in our previous text you got the data by 2050. All right, then some countries and regions continue to experience further population growth. You have to understand, not all the parts of the world, some countries and some regions continue to experience. It means that in some of the parts of the world the population will go up. Maybe in some parts of the population the number of population won't go up or may remain as it is. Okay, but in some of the parts we can see population will be growing, while others have witnessed stabilization. So what does it mean? See, remains stable. It does not go up, it does not go down. Okay, that type of trend is stabilization. All right. So, or begun to decrease in population size. See, there is option or stabilization, remains stable, or the population will go down. Okay, not increasing but decreasing. So, have you got the main ideas of this paragraph? Good. Again, we are going to discuss the meanings of these two highlighted words. And the first one in this paragraph is offspring. OFFSPRING, offspring. So what does it mean? You understand in this context. What is it? Okay, once again, let me show you the meaning of this word. A person, child, or children. Okay, child or children, you know. Then again another word, stabilization. So what does it mean? So I have told you many times whether you have caught me or not. And the meaning of this one is the process of making something physically more secure or stable. Now you can find remaining same. Okay, neither going up nor going down, or there can be slight, you know, trend of going up and down, but that does not seem very much. All right. Dear students, if you are clear in this paragraph, again we have another paragraph in this text, and again you have to do the same. Means you have to read with me together because it is our reading comprehension task. So you have to develop your reading comprehension by reading. There is not any other option, you know, that's why. Let's begin then. The world's two most populous regions in 2022 were Eastern and Southeastern Asia. 2.3 billion people, representing 29% of the global population, lived in these regions. Central and Southern Asia had 2.1 billion population, representing 26%. China and India accounted for the largest populations in these regions, with more than 1.4 billion each in 2022. Okay, we'll discuss. Let's continue this paragraph. The total population of Europe and Northern America and that of Sub-Saharan Africa was comparable in size in 2022, with more than 1.1 and 1.2 billion people respectively. However, these two regions have reached such population size as a result of very different growth trajectories since the mid-20th century. So simply now, can you tell me which are the countries that will contribute in the largest number of population growth? Simply, if you understand this information, it's okay here. So which are the countries? Yes, you are very now tricky enough to find it. That is China and India. Okay, China and India. And you can find largest populations in these regions. You can find mostly populous countries in the world. China, you can see the number. India, you can see the number. And they are our neighboring countries, you know. So with more than, what is the data here? 1.4 billion each year in 2022. Now 23, 24 and some about other years, then people will again find out the increasing number of population in these two countries. Okay, and you can see Europe and Northern America and that of Sub-Saharan Africa was comparable in size in 2022. It means that these countries do not have the similar, or you can say same ratio of population in comparison to China and India. All right, with more than 1.1 and 1.2 billion people respectively. You can find the data here. Okay, so however, these two regions have reached such population size as a result of very different growth trajectories since the mid-20th century. So this is what the information in these two paragraphs. Now we have another word here. So all of you read the spellings first and try to pronounce. Okay, then I'll tell you the meaning, but you have to guess the meaning in this context first yourself. So read the spellings now. Trajectories, trajectories. How do you pronounce trajectories? Okay, once again, Trajectories, trajectories. What is it? Trajectories. Well done. If so, what's the meaning now? Oh, it's very unfamiliar word for you, I guess. So what's the meaning of this word? Don't worry, I am here to help you. So trajectories means the paths followed by a projectile flying or an object moving under the action of given forces. Okay, the paths followed by a projectile. So you can find the growth, projection of population. Is it clear to you? Good job. If so, again another paragraph. Are you enjoying reading the different paragraphs about population trend, sometime increasing, sometime decreasing, and looking at the past experience and estimating the future, very interesting. Okay? Now, again read with me together. Europe and Northern America have been growing at an annual rate of less than 1%. See, what is the growth rate of population in Europe and Northern America? Oh my God, see, at an annual rate of less than 1%. See, less than 1% population growth. That's why maybe they are, importing population from other countries, and even from our country also, many youths go there. Okay. So 1% since the mid 1960s, reaching a growth rate close to 0 in 2020. See, growth rate maybe, okay, very near, very close to 0. It means that no population growth. Around, very near to 0 means no population growth. All right. In 2020 and 2021. The annual growth rate of the population of sub-Saharan Africa peaked at 3% in 1978. But look at the data of population in Saharan Africa in 1978. See, peaked at 3%, means growing at 3%. All right, so you can find opposite data there. Some parts of the world, less number of population. Some parts of the world, more number of population. And remain above 2.8% during the 1980s. So what is the data? Remain in 1980s. Yes, you are right again. That is 2.8. Since the 1980s, sub-Saharan Africa has been the region with the fastest growing population. Now you can see the year here, 1980s, and sub-Saharan Africa. You can say African countries, now they contribute a lot to increase the population. So fastest growing, see, you can see this information here. So in this paragraph, what you can find, the developed countries have a kind of trend of decreasing population. Okay, but developing countries and underdeveloping countries, they have a kind of trend of growing population very fast. So do you compare this type of data here, information? Good. Now again there is a highlighted word, that is peaked. So what's the spelling? Yes, P-E-A-K-E-D, peaked. Then what does it mean? I hope you might have got its meaning. Do I need to show you? Anyway, I just want to show you, okay? Rising to a peak, see, going up towards the peak, and it is at 3%, So it means that growing fastest. This is what, going to the top, Now, again you can see the table here for your comparative studies. Before this, you just read it now. Almost 44.8 million people lived in the two regions of Oceania in 2022, with 2.5 million inhabitants in 1950. The population of Oceania, excluding Australia and New Zealand, reached close to 13.6 million in 2022. Population of the world, SDG regions and selected groups of countries 2022, 2030 and 2050 according to the medium scenario. So this is what you can find, 2.5 million inhabitants in 1950, where you can find in the two regions of Oceania, okay, and the year is 2022, and in this one this excluding Australia is not included there. Similarly, New Zealand is also not included, and they are close to 13.6 million in 2022. Okay, this is what, and you can have a comparative studies here in this table. Okay, world, you can find population in 2022, it's given in millions, all right, and 2030, 2050. So I just want to show you with the pointer here, and you just read. Okay, world, now 2022, 2030, 2050. Sub-Saharan Africa, see 2022, 2030, 2050. Northern Africa and Western Asia, see 2022, 2030 and 2050. Similarly, Central and Southern Asia, you can see the number here, 2022, 2030 and 2050. Don't forget, it is in million. Okay, now Latin America and the Caribbean, you can see here 2030, 2050 year. Then Australia or New Zealand, you can see the number in 2022, 2030 and 2050. Likewise, Oceania, see the number. Okay, got it? Good. Likewise, Europe and Northern America, you can see. Again, list development countries now. Here you can find in 2022, 2030, then 2050. And landlocked developing countries like Nepal, in 2022, 2030, 2050. Small island developing states, again, you can find in 2022, 2030 and 2050. So in your free time from your textbook, you can read this table and find out, okay, and you can compare. So it means that you need to have comparative study in your free time about the trend of population growing up and down, and at the same time between developed, developing and underdeveloping countries. Okay, dear students, after this we are very near to our end of our class, so don't forget to read this paragraph again. In the next 3 decades, in the next 30 years, again, the regions of the world will experience different growth rates of their population, different growth rates. Okay, so maybe somewhere less, somewhere more, or no. Consequently, as a result, the regional distribution of the population in 2050 will significantly differ from that of today. So it means, what do you understand? Yes, in some of the parts the population will be more, and in some of the parts the population will be less, and it brings a kind of variety in population. Okay, no balance in population, somewhere more, somewhere less. Now in the next paragraph, Central and Southern Asia is expected to become the most populous, see, most populous, more number of population region in the world by 2037, as the population of Eastern and Southeastern Asia could start declining by the mid-2030s. Now here again, by the mid-2030s, then declining, the population will start going down. All right, have you got it? Good. If so, now here is a word again, populous, P-O-P-U-L-O-U-S, populous. What does it mean? P-O-P-U-L-O-U-S, populous. How do you pronounce? Populous. Good job. So what's the meaning now again? Yes, you are right. Having a large population, it's an adjective. Okay, having a large population, densely populated, having big number of population. Got it? All right, now another one again. Between 2022 and 2050, the population of sub-Saharan Africa is expected to almost double. See, the population is expected to double, 2 times more, surpassing 2 billion inhabitants by the late 2040s, with average fertility levels remaining close to 3 births per woman in 2050. Now you can see average fertility levels remaining close to 3 births. Now in our country, the government has a kind of policy having 2 children, 2 babies. Okay, and here you can see average woman will give birth to 3 babies, okay, per woman in 2050. Sub-Saharan Africa is projected to account for more than half of the growth of the world's population between 2022 and 2050. Between this time, then it is expected that the population will be more, okay, in Sub-Saharan Africa. The size of the population in this region was growing at an annual rate of 2.5%. Again, it looks like more one, okay. The highest among all 8 regions are more than 3 times the global average of 0.8% per year. In the global, in our global society, you can find the annual rate of average, population growth is 0.8. But if it is 2.5% here, then it looks very big number, okay. And it means, again, you can predict that there will be an imbalance of population distribution in the world. Somewhere more, somewhere, yes, you are right, less. Now, Europe and Northern America are projected to reach their peak in population and to begin experiencing a decline in the late 2030s. See, in the late 2030s, the population of these developed countries, Europe and Northern America, they will have less population, all right, due to sustained low levels of fertility. What is the reason? Low levels of fertility, okay. More than half of the projected increase in the global population between 2022 and 2050 is expected to be concentrated in just 8 countries. And what are the names of the countries? You can see the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, the Philippines, and the United Republic of Tanzania. In these countries, it is expected that the countries will have more population. Got it? Good job. Now, the last paragraph for you is the populations of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the United Republic of Tanzania are expected to grow rapidly, fast, between 2 and 3% per year over the 2022 to 2050. See, between 2022 and 2052, the growth rate will be, see, between 2 and 3%, it's a big number, okay, per year. Disparate population growth rates among the world's largest countries will change their ranking by size. For example, India is projected to surpass China as the world's most population country in 2023. So if you compare the population between China and India, then it seems that India has got more population than China. It looks like that one, projected. So this is how the distribution of population is going up and down in this world. So I hope you might have got the clear comparative study of population according to this text, okay. And this text is adopted from World Population Prospects 2022. Now, here is a word that may be unfamiliar for you. So what does it mean? Okay, let me share this meaning. Essentially different in kind, not able to be compared. See, if you compare this population with other countries, then it is difficult to compare. One is very high in number, another is very less in number. How to compare? See, this is what we can find the scenario of the world population. Now, the final task for you that you will have to do at your home in your free time, and that is your home assignment. So what is it? Can you guess? See, it's interesting. Use the following words and make your one meaningful sentences. You have got the meanings of some unfamiliar words in the text. Now you have to bring them into your practice, okay, so that you can frequently use those words in your communication and writing. So the words for you are surpassing, assumptions, mortality, projection, relatively, demographic, offspring, stabilization, populace, trajectories, picked, disparate. Now you have to use these words in your sentences. Dear students, we have come to the end of our today's class. I hope you might have enjoyed and you might have got the idea to source the information from the given text. Please keep practicing in your free time. It's all for today. Have a wonderful time. Goodbye.